Hello and welcome to a new episode of Holmes Movies Recommends. My name is Anders Holmes. I am in Denmark, and Adam, who's on Zoom, he is on the wacky side of the Atlantic.
That's right. Yes.
The crazy side.
No, yeah, it's hello, I'm in America.
How's it going?
Oh, let's just look. It's September the 23rd as we sit here and record today. The election isn't until November 3. Just assume that I'm having a nervous breakdown and everything is terrible, unless I tell you otherwise. If something happens, like if Mike Pence falls down a well, or if Donald Trump shits himself on live TV, or something else happens and that's good, or it would, then I'll tell you. But right now everything is just terrible, so just assume it's terrible and then we can move on. So please don't ask, because it forces me to look at it.
Fair enough. Yes. Well, everything in your life going well at the moment, work-wise and things like that?
Yeah. Speaking of films, I have recently collaborated on a short, what I might even go as far as to call a documentary, which is last Saturday marked 40 years since W.E.B. Du Bois's papers, which I helped to look after in some way, shape or form, were opened at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. So I helped to put together a video, conducted interviews, and even spoke on camera myself, which is the least good part of this film. We put together a little half-hour documentary about this archive, and it's getting a really good response. So I'm chuffed.
I'm glad to hear that.
Never made a documentary before, so that little part of that area is going very well. I just hit my microphone.
Got so excited you wanted to hit your microphone.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, the last time you were in a documentary was the one that I did a few years ago.
Oh, what about Mum moving house? I don't think that counts. And I didn't produce that.
You were a subject.
I had no role to play in that. You just filmed me while I cooked and talked about shite while drinking a gin and tonic, I remember.
With your sunglasses on, looking like a boss.
I don't think I was looking at a boss, but probably like a twat.
Fair enough.
I'm pleased with this one. So maybe you put the link in the show notes, because I want people to watch it.
Yeah,
boost those numbers.
Yeah, I do have the link that you sent to me on WhatsApp. I do look forward to checking that out when I have a free moment.
What do you mean you have a free moment? You don't have a job.
Oh, thank you.
Life is nothing but free moments.
That sounds like a Disney song. Life is nothing about free moments.
No, I don't think it's a Disney, because it would be like a Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers,
Leonard.
Nothing but free moments with you
in
my life.
Yeah, it's like a Leonard Bernstein song or something like that. Oh, not like
no, not Leonard Bernstein. I was George Gershwin or Cole Porter. I was thinking,
or Robert Rogers and Hammerstein.
Again, you just want to go bombastic in music. I'm like, this is a quiet number. Life is nothing but free moments is going to star like Dick Powell. Fred Astaire is going to be a nice 1930s musical. You want to make it a big Technicolor splashy thing. It's like, no, this is a whimsical and nice piece.
Yeah, but all that
RKO, baby.
All that Gene Kelly choreography.
Yeah, leave that out. I'm supposed to be watching On the Town this week, which I've never seen before. So
that's with him and Bing Crosby, isn't it?
No, Frank Sinatra.
Right. I get those two mixed up.
You get Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby mixed up.
Well, they were both in high society.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah. Anyway, well, speaking of Disney, Disney Plus or Plus. I call it Disney Plus because in Denmark they say Plus. Plus.
What's happening to you?
I don't know. So Disney Plus finally arrived in Denmark. So all the sort of Disney goodness has arrived, and I've been watching a few of the. They have a lot of those old like silly symphonies. Those old like, the very old shorts that they had with Mickey Mouse and Goofy and all that sort of stuff, and also some of the really old Pixar short films, which are really, really good. So, I mean, if you know someone who has Disney Plus, you should check those out because they're so like delightful and they do put like a huge smile on your face.
I will do that. I don't know that I know anyone with Disney Plus.
Yeah. I've also been watching the Star Wars TV show, The Mandalorian, which is actually pretty good, I have to say.
I've heard only good things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it shows that you could make a Star Wars property that doesn't have to make references to Skywalker or have someone from the Skywalker saga like showing up. It can be its own thing. And also the thing I really like about it is it really wears the influences of like samurai films and the Western genre on its shoulders. Like it really feels like a proper space Western.
Wears it on its shoulders.
Is that right? Is that how you say it?
No, you say wears it on its sleeve.
Wears it on its sleeve. Okay, I said it wrong. Wears it on its sleeve. That's what I meant. Yeah, so it's
inventing new phrases.
I thought it was where
it lays all its cards on the apple tree.
Yeah, I did apple picking today. It was nice. Made juice. But anyway, no, The Mandalorian is really good, and also the thing that I really like about it is there's this really interesting technology that they do with it, because you get the sense when watching it that Disney threw so much money at this show to Jon Favreau and said like, okay, go out to all these locations and shoot this for our new TV show for our streaming platform. But the really cool thing is the whole show is filmed inside of a set, and they have these and this, you know, if there's a scene that takes place outside in like a rocky area with Jawas, all that is shot in a studio and they project it onto an LED backdrop, so it looks like on location, which is really cool. So it like, while they're filming, they have a screen so they can see how it's going to look in the final product. So they're sort of getting a good idea of it while they're filming. So it's not like, you know, they're shooting everything on a green screen and then waiting a few months to see how you're going to put everything, you know. So it's not like what they did with the George Lucas films, and often these days with like some of the Marvel movies, they do shoot a lot of the locations are like made on a computer, and a lot of it is green screen. And I think the cool thing about this is that it just looks really real, and it gives the actors something to work with. Like they actually feel like they're in that location, which is quite nice. Which I don't know. I mean, it seems like something that they might on bigger films they might try and do that. I don't know.
Well, especially now, right? With
COVID,
you know, with restrictions in place, if you're going to film on a closed set and you can make it look like you're outside. I mean, this is funny the way sort of film repeats itself, because that's no different really from what you did in old like studio westerns, where you had an outside shot that's actually on a set with like some fake trees and like papier-mâché rocks in the foreground, and then a painted backdrop. I mean, there's no real difference to that, is it?
Yeah, it's quite interesting, that sort of technology, and how, because I like when I was watching it, I was like, it looks like they went out to some rocky location in the middle of like, I don't know, in America or Utah or something like that, and made it look like
America or Utah. Has Utah seceded?
I don't know, or like, you know, Tunisia, where they shot all the Tatooine scenes. But no, all that is just shot. It's all projected onto a big like 180 almost. I think it's like a big 180 like screen, and they make it, and it's very realistic. And a lot of it is practical. Like all the makeup effects is practical. Like the baby Yoda is a puppet, and it's practical. And they were about to CGI it at one point, and then Werner Herzog was like, "No, you cowards, make it a puppet."
What is Werner Herzog doing involved in this?
He's called the Client, and he hires.
Okay, fucking hell! I have to see this. If there's a character played by Werner Herzog called the Client, I have to see whatever this is.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Okay.
And
you should have mentioned Werner Herzog, because you have my full attention now.
Yeah, it's a really cool show, and Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, he's pretty cool, and like a lot of his dialogue is very sort of man with no name inspired. Like, I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold, like kill you or freeze you or whatever.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah.
That sounds very, very cool.
The last thing I'll say about The Mandalorian is the composer who makes the music for the show, Ludwig Göransson, who won an Oscar for the music for Black Panther. The music is very good. Like, it has all these kind of Eastern and very operatic kind of inspirations around it. It's really good, and the tunes are so memorable. Like, they stick in your head.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I must say, I would love to get hold of it. Do you think they're ever going to do a DVD release of The Mandalorian? What's
I mean, depending on how popular it is on the streaming site, I don't know. I mean, they could at some point put it out on DVD. I don't know. Be interesting.
I hope so, because I'm not getting a Disney Plus subscription anytime soon. But
no.
Do you have one? Can I use it over here?
Maybe. Yeah, I could. Yeah, I'm sharing it with Felina, and me and my girlfriend and I were sharing one. We're sharing it together. Yes.
All right.
I sounded a bit like Woody Allen there for a second. Yeah, we're sharing it. Yeah.
It certainly didn't sound like Woody Allen there. We'll talk off air. I'd love to try and see if I can log in. So, what the hell are you recommending today? We've been sitting here for 15 minutes, and you've only talked about LEDs and Baby Yodas.
Yeah. So I want to recommend a film which just came out fairly recently, a couple of weeks ago. It was released on Netflix on my birthday, and that is the Charlie.
They made it just for you.
It's Charlie Kaufman's new film. I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
That sounds cheerful.
It is. It's the complete opposite of cheerful, as most of Charlie Kaufman's films are. Have you seen any of his films? Like, I mean, he's only directed 3 films, but he's written scripts for Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I've seen that. That's good.
He won the Oscar along with Michel Gondry, because I think he collaborated with the screenplay with him. And I think like that was my introduction to Charlie Kaufman, which is I think for people who haven't seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, it is a very surreal, while at the same time it's a very stunning film. Like, visually, it's very stunning, and I think the aesthetic of it is really cool. And I think that's
it's brilliantly done. Some of the practical effects in Eternal Sunshine are amazing. So, what's the deal with I'm Thinking of Ending Things?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of it's not his most accessible film. I think there's a lot. I mean, with a lot of his movies, particularly the ones that he's directed, there's a lot of very different interpretations of it, and I really like his writing. I think there's something very dissident and challenging about it, but it's also very engaging, and he draws you into this like very morbid and philosophical world, and there's something very magical and dreamlike about it all. And I felt like that when I was watching his animated film Anomalisa, which came out in 2015, and that stars David Thewlis, who also stars in this film. He reunites with Charlie Kaufman again. You know, we're presented a reality that is very familiar and real to us, but you know, it's very different. There's some very, it's like we're in the mind and subconscious of some very sad, lonely, and depressed and misunderstood figures who are very much trying to find their way in the world and trying to make sense of the world around them. And the most simple way that I can explain this movie, we're introduced to the film through the narration of a young woman played by Jessie Buckley, who is a delight, and this is like a really great performance from her, and I hope she gets more work from this. And she was in Chernobyl, the HBO show. Have you seen that?
No.
It's really good. Like, it's intense, but it's really good. And
I've heard it's very good.
Yeah, so she's credited as young woman in the film, but she's called Louise, and she has quite a few names throughout the movie. And you know, and she's in a relationship with Jesse Plemons, who looks a little bit like Matt Damon and probably gets confused quite a few times. Who is a great actor.
Yeah, he does look like Matt Damon, doesn't he?
He's a great actor, and he was in season 2 of Fargo. He was the butcher.
Yes, I know exactly who he is. Or are you telling the listeners?
No, telling the listeners, but yeah. But
all right, listeners, listen up. Anders is telling you about Jesse Plemons. He's the guy who looks like Matt Damon. He's like a fat Matt Damon, and he's in Breaking Bad. He's in Fargo. He's in Bridge of Spies, which is shit. He's in
Game Night. He's in Game Night, which is a really, really
I haven't seen Game Night. He's in that.
Yeah.
He's in I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is what you're recommending.
Yeah. So she's in a relationship with Jake, and
He's so funny in Fargo, by the way.
He's extremely Fargo.
That second season is so good.
It's so good. Yeah, it's amazing. The third season with David Thewlis is on another level as well. Like, it's so completely, it's different from the other two seasons. It takes like a more philosophical approach. But anyway, yeah. So she's in a relationship with Jake, and he's, played wonderfully by Jesse Plemons, and they've been in a relationship for a few months, and it starts off with him picking her up on the street, and it starts off with this narration where she's talking about maybe ending her relationship with him while they're driving to see his parents out in the middle of nowhere. They shot this in like upstate New York, which is like, there's nothing there. And it's like in the middle of winter, and it's like bleak and depressing, and a bit like Fargo, actually, where they shot around there. And his parents are played by Toni Collette and David Thewlis. And they've been invited to dinner, and it's his childhood home. And that's the basic way to describe this film. Once they get to the house, things just go in a completely unpredictable direction. And it's like everything may seem very simple, but, things are never very clear and simple with Charlie Kaufman's work. And I think it does prove to be very divisive. Like, he is a Marmite filmmaker. He's very much someone you either love or you hate, and it very much splits audience down the middle. And they are his films and his scripts, they are these very sort of microscopic and complex mysteries about human fragility and self-doubt and annoyance. And there is something Lynchian, and there's something Kafka-esque about it, with a little hint of Lars von Trier and Woody Allen. Like, those are
bloody hell, that's a lot of you just dropped a whole lorry load of names right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you get a sense of like, those people really inspire his work, but he's very able to make his films very singular and his own thing, without people sort of being like, oh, that's just it ripping off those guys. So it's a very intricate film. It's a very intricate look at the human condition and feelings, and it's somewhat ambitious. Like, going into the second half of the film, it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder, and you're not really sure what's going on. It's like that scene in The Simpsons where Homer's watching something and he's like, brilliant. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I love that.
Essentially, that is this movie.
That's one of those, I think of that every time I watch like a complicated film, or when the first time I watched Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the original BBC production. So good. I have no idea what's going on.
It's also like in Knives Out with Daniel Craig, is like, I have no idea what's going on. Compels me though. So it's, the movie, like, you're very engaged with what's happening. Like, there's a very interesting mystery in like the relationship between the two characters, and there's a lot of it is left ambiguous in regards to what is the film trying to say and what the film's really about. And it sort of shifts a little bit of who the film's protagonist is. Is it Jesse Buckley or is it Jesse Plemons? And you're not really
two Jessies.
Yeah. So it's a very, very interesting film. And there's a lot of rich intelligence in the writing of the dialogue and the characterizations. And of course, these kind of films are always going to rub people the wrong way. I think people will always feel like it's insulting their intelligence, but I don't think that's what Charlie Kaufman's trying to do, and I don't think that was ever his intention. In regards to figuring out the film and its core themes, there's many ways to interpret this movie. There's maybe only just one, but like, there's a lot to admire with this movie, even if it will make your head spin, but it will really stick with you and you'll be thinking about it quite a lot. And so that's pretty much
I have Netflix, maybe I should watch it.
It's really, really good. You should. There's one scene in the film, there's one car scene towards the end of the movie with Jesse Plemons and Jesse Buckley, where they're talking about the John Cassavetes movie Husbands, and for some reason she starts quoting the review of the movie written by Pauline Kael, and she's talking in a Pauline Kael like she's doing an impersonation of Pauline Kael. It's quite a funny scene.
I love how niche that is.
Yeah,
talking about a Cassavetes film and reading the original review by Pauline Kael. That's like, that's definitely not a film for a mass audience.
Yeah, I know.
I love that. I love that sort of. I mean, that is Woody Allen-esque, isn't it? I mean, that's
a little
really,
bit, yeah.
That's straight out of like Manhattan or something. All right, then. Well, I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, and it's on Netflix. And if you like that, then do check out his other films that he's done.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Well, that concludes another episode of Holmes Movies Recommends. Thank you very much for listening to us talking about I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and also what I've been watching on Disney Plus. And you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Podomatic, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And do check out the little short documentary that Adam did for W.E.D. Du Bois. B. Du Bois. Sorry. I'll link it in with the show, the episode.
Yeah, do. Or just type in Du Bois Papers 40th anniversary into YouTube and you should find it.
Yes.
Really means a lot to have done that. And the more views we get, the better for me, I guess. Well, I don't get anything, but I mean, it would just be great to spread the joy. It's a fun documentary. You don't really need to know anything about Du Bois to watch it, but it is an interesting sort of piece about how you use archival, how we can use archival materials not just for scholarship but for public outreach, education, that sort of thing. Anyway,
nice.
I'm thinking of ending this podcast.
I'm thinking of ending things right now. But have a good day, stay safe, and
vote.
Yes. That too. Register to vote.
Yeah, if you haven't registered to vote, I'm going to come to your house and slap you.
Also,
COVID restrictions be damned.
Also, if you're going to vote for a third party, don't.
No, not this time. Just come on.
Just
be fucking sensible. When I say vote, you know what I mean.
It's 2020.
Don't make me spell it out.
It's no time for dumb fuckery.
Yeah, well, it is the time for dumb fuckery. So let's make it stop. Okay, let's get out of here before I get depressed.
Yes.
Bye.